Well, hey everybody, it's July the 21st. Had a really incredible day. Uh, sort of had an issue with the last video I did. I guess I had a microphone problem. Uh, didn't realize that until a little while ago when Elizabeth called, or I was talking to Elizabeth, and she said, "Danny, I couldn't hear you on the video." So I went and checked it out, and then sure enough, there was a comment there from Sandy as well that said, "Oh, doesn't I can't hear anything," and I go, "My goodness gracious!" Anyway, because I really want to go back and visit last Friday. I'm pretty sure it was Friday or Saturday, whichever one it was. Uh, Poker adventure, again, one of the things I truly uh, feel enriched with when I do play poker is the people that I meet, especially new people. And so this particular day, uh, uh, this gentleman was in a scooter, a disability scooter, and he rolls up to the seat to my left, and he sort of, I didn't quite know what was going on. I thought, he was going to stay in his scooter and play from there, but he got himself up and out of the scooter and got into the chair. And, there were some really interesting conversations going on around the table, and he was enjoying them just as much as I was. There's this one young man. I mean, I don't mean to tell on anybody, but he's one of those conspiracy theorists or whatever he's into conspiracy theories about the moon. He said, "We never landed on the moon. And I'm going, oh, here we go. Here we go. Like he was there and he knows this, and he's like 30 years old, and the moon landing was what, 57 years ago, or what, 60 years ago. And I believe today or yesterday was the anniversary of Neil Armstrong walking on the moon, and I love that stuff. Anyway, so we all sort of like listened to him, and um, I think one maybe bit the apple on that. Certainly, I almost get to like, really, you disrespect history so much that if it doesn't meet your standards, it's a conspiracy and they're wrong and you're right, kind of a deal. But whatever it is exactly what it is. So I'm okay with that. But so then I got to chatting with the gentleman to my left, because this is how it went next. So there was a guy sitting in the middle. It was speaking with the guy to my right who drives a Tesla. And so he chirps up and he said, "Yeah, I got three of those things. I bought one for my daughter, I bought one for my wife, and I bought one for myself. And my daughter just refuses to take care of the car." And this guy to my right chirps up and says, "Well, that's incredible, because they'll come to your house, because pretty much all you need to do," I'm going to sort of tilt this down a little bit, "all you really need to do is rotate the tires, and they come out and they rotate the tires at your home or work, wherever you are, and they charge you $65." And I go, "That's fair." This young lady, this gentleman's 83 years old, by the way, that has the Tesla for his daughter and his wife and himself. Apparently, she's one of those people that just absolutely positively refuses to work and takes no responsibility for anything. And it was gut wrenching to listen to his story, but he's okay with it. He thought it was sort of humorous, and I'm going, well, whatever. That's I you got to do something in this world, don't you? I don't know. So anyway, so we had the conspiracy theory guy going on, the three Tesla guy with the daughter who refuses to work and refuses to take care of anything. I guess she has everything. I can't imagine. I honestly, I don't even want to try to imagine, but I'm trying to imagine just the same, because like, what? And then, this got him right. He was a really great guy as well. And then the guy on my left, we got to chatting, and I asked him, I said, "So, like, did you have a stroke?" Wondering why he's, confined to a scooter chair kind of a thing. He says, "Nope. In 1954, I came down with polio." And of course, Jonas Salk came out with the vaccine a year later. But he did quite well. He also is 83 years old. He survived polio. He had braces on his legs up until the last few years, which is remarkable. He was able to drive a car. with his braces. But the most incredible thing is he did not stop. He went and he pursued everything. And everything is in case I haven't mentioned that before, everything is a lot of things, a lot of things. So any hoots, wow, it was just an amazing story. He says, yeah, when I got out of school, I got into this workability type of a program. They gave me a list of jobs and asked me to look at them and said, or do any of these like, you know, spark your match per se? And he says he went down the list and he saw barber. He says, I'm going to become a barber. And then the workability coach suggested to him, maybe that's not such a great idea because you'd have to be on your feet all day long. He says, I'm going to become a barber. I'm going to prove to you that I can do this. So he went to barber school. The guy that ran the barber school said, you got to be kidding. You're a great guy. You're obviously, you know, scooting along pretty well as far as learning how to be a barber goes. But how are you going to stand on your feet for 8 to 10 hours a day? He says, I'm going to be a barber and I'm going to be really good at it. So he wound up doing that for 43 years. But not only was he a barber, he was a wrestling coach. He taught bowling. He shared with me that he taught golf. And I'm going, oh, okay, because there's different ways of teaching golf other than, you know, trying to get somebody to understand the swing. I'm more the play it backwards kind of a guy. Let's learn how to putt and then chip, and then we'll go upstairs and let you hit a couple of drivers, just because I know that's the ism of golf. You know, everybody wants to launch it a long way, but you still got to get it in the hole. But anyway, and so wrestling, bowling, golf. Um, there were, I mean, he was just remarkable. So as he was getting ready to leave, his name was Mike. He shook my hand, and this guy is the second strongest person that's ever shook my hand that I can recall. The first one would be Mike Tyson. I met Mike Tyson when I was driving limo and I was staging at the Venetian. I turned around one day and there's Mike Tyson. I said, "Hey, Mike, it's what a pleasure to see you." I introduced myself. He was very, very, very hospitable, you know. And he shook my hand, and my hand hurt for 3 days. I will say, after Mike shook my hand, this is so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My hand didn't hurt, but it was quite the grip. It was a vice grip of a handshake. And so that, you know, and you know, and then I go back to listening to the guy talk about his daughter that refuses to work or even take care of her nice, spanking new, polished, not taken care of Tesla. And I think of my daughter Elizabeth, who has her own cookie company, and she lets nothing get in her way. Like Mike let nothing get in his way. And I know a few other people like that. They don't look at themselves as being disabled. They just look at themselves as being, well, I can't climb a flight of stairs right now. You know, so and Elizabeth, you know, she lets nothing get in her way. You know, she holds fort. So that's all great and good. And so I'm going to sort of like, you know, leave it at that. I will say, being today is Tuesday the 21st, my, how would you say, my tutoring session to learn CapCut on Saturday did not happen. It did not happen on Sunday, and it did not happen yesterday for various reasons. You know, I'm sort of tired of reasons, but this guy's local, you know, and so we finally met up today. And I did, in fact, have my first CapCut video editing tutoring session. I learned a lot, and of course, I forgot a lot. And we'll be doing it again on Thursday. And I'm certainly going to pay for the tutoring so that I can do this and make these things a little bit more video oriented per se, and just they need to be a little bit better, you know, than what I'm currently doing, and they will be, and I will learn this package, and I will be able to plug in some photos and some B-rolls, which is really all I want to do. Everything else I'm pretty darn happy with. I'll say this also, so on the video about my 1988 Ford Escort electric car that I bought in 1992, I watched that, and it reminded me of my friend Sharon Schwab from MCA Music and Capitol Records, and I forgot what the record company at Walt Disney was called, but she worked there. She just took me along everywhere, and I wanted her to see this video. We're Facebook friends. We don't communicate any other way other than Facebook, and so I loaded that video up for her, and lo and behold, within the first 2 hours of me loading up that video, it had over 200 views. And I go, I, okay, I got it. That's. We'll have to see how that carries over to the rest of the channel because the channel is still very much new and raw. But anyway, that's the deal. You know, I'm trying to make things better. I apologize for this video not having audio the first time, but I hope I remembered everything. But I definitely wanted to share the story about my friend Mike with polio because that is one of those remarkable stories. It's nothing. It's like a shining star that will guide you wherever the heck you need to go. You guys have a great day. I'm looking forward to my next CapCut tutoring session, and we'll be making better videos from here on out. Thank you. See ya.